It's a moment she'll never forget, the time she got to meet in person Ms. Rosa Parks, the woman Ms. Dorothy Iman-Johnson says was her hero growing up in Birmingham, Alabama. You see, Dorothy didn't just learn about the civil rights movement, she lived through it.
As young people, they were just important civil rights leaders for us then. We never knew they would become international leaders and icons.
Dorothy grew up in poverty. Her parents worked hard to raise their 14 children, her mom with an 8th grade education and her dad just a 3rd grade education. But Miss Dorothy Iman-Johnson says her mother was fearless.
Because even when it was very, very difficult, she didn't shy away from what she felt was her responsibility. She would go and do her work as a maid outside of the home, come home and take care of her children, and then she would do her volunteer commitment for the civil rights movement.
As a teenager, Dorothy took part in various protests, demonstrations, and sit-ins. Her experiences preparing her for a lifetime of activism on behalf of minorities and low-income families. By high school, Dorothy met another influential woman in her life, Miss Fanny Hayes, her French teacher who became her English teacher and then her mentor. With Miss Hayes' support, Dorothy went on to college, then followed in her footsteps. After 28 years of being an educator, Dorothy decided to run for the Tallahassee City Commission and became the first African-American female mayor of Tallahassee.
I think back on how many close calls I've had with my life, and I think about why did God preserve me? And it's because there were things He had purposed for me.
Over the 8 years Dorothy served the citizens of Tallahassee, she says she accomplished a long list of things she's proud of. They include founding the Art Museum in the Brogan Center, creating the Mini Pass or Pedestrian and Street Safety Program for older neighborhoods, and creating the Utility Rate Stabilization Fund for the city. But it was her desire to be the chief advocate and service provider for people in poverty that drove her for 14 years, leading the 8 counties under the Capital Area Community Action Agency as the executive director.
I was able to initiate programs, rebuild the agency with a wonderful board and a wonderful staff team there that made that agency, by the time I left, one of the best community action agencies in the state.
She says things might have been much different if she didn't have the people in her life to influence and push her. Ultimately, though, she says it's up to each person to dictate who you want to be in the future.
If people just remember me as a passionate advocate for taking care of people in need, that would be enough for me, because I think that is the purpose that kind of threads through everything I've done in life.